Welcome back to the studio. I still have my guests with me here. So, gentlemen, October 1st, Nigeria will be celebrating 64 years. 64 years being an independent nation. Okay, so let me just ask you both. Would you say at the course of this 64 years, Nigeria has moved forward?
Well, I'll say 64 years, yes.
Because, I mean, I'm sorry to cut you short, just so you could include it in that. You know, when you see a 1-year-old child, and when you see a 64-year-old child, you know that, you know, a lot of experience and you expect, you know, a lot of progress and growth from a 64-year-old child. So I would also love us to look at it from that angle.
You know, like, you cannot actually equate age with wisdom. Because like people say that fools also grow old.
True.
Sorry to use that word, you know. So now, the fact that Nigeria is 64 or that a man or a woman is 64 doesn't necessarily mean that there is so much
there is a high
to
expectation.
Why high expectation of what?
That's the person
No, you should very clear.
Growth and development.
In what areas? You know, there are people who are 64 who have made so much money. But that's all.
Well, they made that money.
That's all. How they made the money, who they are, what they do. There is nothing. I mean, nothing by way of any tangible record. That is one. Now, 64, maybe a grandfather or a grandmother. But has been a bad example. No example to show. Even the children and the grandchildren don't even want to stay with the person, you know, due to certain characteristics, you know. Whereas there are those who are 64, and if you look at their, you know, record of achievement in terms of academics, oh my, packed full. If you look at their social impact, packed full. If you look at their character, you know, and other things, in other virtues, you know, values, they've impacted a lot of people. In fact, there are some who just have maybe 2 or 4 children, but the young people they have mentored can fill a whole village, you know, because they mentor so many people. Now, the thing is this: Nigeria has been a mixture of us. Okay. You know, yes, with a lot of resources, very wealthy, even with immense potential. Of course, Nigeria, after independence, has given birth to children and grandchildren in terms of, you know, helping some other African nations, frontline states, to gain independence. Nigeria has fought wars. Nigeria has spent so much money. Of course, we said money was not a problem at the time, but how to spend it. And so we are spending it, you know, like drunken sailors. You know, was really spending money. Even as recently as the last administration, the former General Buhari that gave $1 million to Afghanistan. You know, when we were just busy borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. You know, so the thing is that I would not say it's all doom and gloom. You know, but you know, Nigeria has actually, our population has increased. You know, we've gone from how many regions? Just about 3, and then later 4 regions to 12 states, 19 states, and today 36 states, and the FCT. Yes, but we still have, you know, many rivers to cross. And like somebody said, that Nigeria has been engaged more in democratic activities than in practicing democracy.
It's actually going to get there.
Yes, than in practicing democracy. That, you know, the people will be producing. It's even democratic activities like pretending to hold elections, like pretending to, you know, check update the voter register, by, you know, do this, do that, paying salaries at the end of the month, paying pension to some extent, you know, and all of that. But what we actually need is a system, first of all. Then a system driven by values, a system driven by expectations, global best practices. We cannot say that Nigeria can actually perform outside of the way other countries, successful developed countries, perform. So when we are now trying to look for, you know, countries to play with, we'll be looking at nations that are, you know, whose population is not more than maybe Ikeja. You know, I mean, that's not the league. We should actually be, at the least, a medium level, at the level of a medium level European country, you know, at this in Africa, and then continue mentoring other African countries, but whereby, you know, Nigerians are running away to any and every country, including African countries, and they are throwing our people into jails, treating our people badly. Of course, we cannot, and then, you know, we cannot say that we have made much progress. We have tried, you know, but we can do much better if the leadership decides to change its orientation, you know, and then the people too decide that it's not about collecting cup of rice, 2,000 naira, loaf of bread, and all of those things from these people. No. Our duty as citizens is to hold them to account, and then we can be said to be moving from being a country to nationhood.
All right. So, Mr. Tony, what's your thought on the country's progress so far? And are we truly independent, looking at, you know, in the face of global economic and security challenges we are facing? Okay.
First is major one, but leadership. Nigerian problem from the one to date is about leadership. We don't have visionary leaders. You know, once we have, just like a chessboard or like a puzzle, just one piece, we define the direction. What we lack in this country is bad leadership.
And what we have,
and what we lack in this country is bad leadership and history corruption. You saw this problem with just have good leader, have a good leader, just like the president. You see this issue of corruption, and then be ready to jail your brother, be ready to jail your sister, jail your wife. It's a appropriation of us. It's simple. It's not rocket science. Our problem since independence till dates has been riddled with corruption. You go into office, what you're thinking is how to enrich yourself, your immediate friends and cronies, your families and all that. That has been our problem. Our problem is corruption and bad leadership. So if we want to move from there, we need to correct it first. We must have visionary leadership, and we must embark on institutional reforms.
Absolutely.
What institutions will work? You don't need anybody to propel it to work. You just let it to work on it. You know, I was saying to somebody the other day on a show. I was saying that no, you know, the president, you still, you know, if they pick, for instance, we're talking about EFCC and all that. This recent quagmire drama with EFCC. You know, at times you don't just pick some people. You need the consent of the president. Why would I need the consent of the president? If the institutions are functioning effectively, you make me a chairman of the commission, or a director general of the commission. I don't need your consent to do my to carry out my responsibility at all. I will take that step. Then let me hear the president say, no, you can't do that. Then I'll ask him. So what am I here for? I know my phone. I've read it. I know my duties, and I'm following it. You see, we cannot resign in Nigeria. We don't know how to resign. Because if the president tells you that it's okay, it means I'm not here for. I mean, I can't do anything. If I take a step, you're looking at it, you're going to call me on phone, then what am I here for? Because at the end of the day, people will say you're not doing anything. Look at what played out at EFCC yesterday. When Bello walked into EFCC, after being declared wanted, even at the level of Interpol, and he came with the governor, and the EFCC chairman was watching him from the window, and all the officers were watching and they were confused, like, do we pick him up? So I know something happened, because it can happen. It can happen under Ribadu. It can happen under past EFCC chairman that I know. It happened, and he came with the time. He spoke, he took pictures. He was at the park, and he left. And then in the night, they went to look for him at the government, Kogi State government. What kind of drama is that? I was expecting the president the next day to tell the guy, okay, after he's done enough. But for him to see be there, it shows that there's something we don't know.
Well, he said he will resign, no?
He said
he has not resigned.
He's still there. So I would have, if it's me, I would have called the EFCC chairman. If I'm not called people, I say, please, what's the drama? You're messing up my administration. Because at the end of the day, fingers will be pointed at me, at me. Tell me why you didn't arrest this guy. For them, the next they said.
I mean, we also have the case of Bobrisky allegations.
And then we have Bobrisky, which is still, burning. So it tells you that we have a lot of problems within our institutions. You're there, you can't perform.
Are we really ready to fight this corruption?
We are not ready. We are not ready. We are not ready now. Just look at them now. We have a lot of them in the Senate. We can, as I said, leadership and corruption. Then you have a lot of them at the National Assembly, Senate and the House of Reps. We have a lot of them at the level of ministers. How can you fight corruption when you surround yourself with corrupt people? From that point, I know we're going to have a problem. So we can actually make this thing work. But first and foremost, we must have those things. We must have the right leadership. So independent, since 1960 to date, we made progress, but we cannot compare it to since because for me, I've said it here, that this is not democracy. This is civil rule. This is civil rule. You don't cherry pick. Do it your way, and then we're not practicing democracy in Nigeria. Let's be realistic. Let's tell ourselves the truth. We are not practicing it. We are doing it the way we want, the way the president wants it, the way the political party, in power wants it, and we'll go away with it.
And a party chairman will say,
"We use." You can make progress like this. Wasting time, and it hurts because when we exist the next generation about what will happen.
What will happen? Yeah.
What is going on? It's sickening. Let's be realistic. Things are not working, and if we can't say it, then we're wasting time within ourselves. We need to talk so that we know we're seeing it. What is working? We say, okay, what's the essence of independence? We want to be on our own, so we can better. We came and start stealing. Stealing has been Nigeria. Stealing.
Even before independence.
They've been doing that. Look at
exactly. So if this has been
but now they're in control. Then they want them to head, so they were able to contest certain things. When we say you go, we can handle it. And then look at what 64 years after, like child crawling at 64.
Okay, so we have just a few minutes to wrap up. Quickly, what are your expectations moving forward? What would you love to see in Nigeria moving forward?
You see, the political class should go beyond just grabbing power to practicing democracy. You see, for a party man to say we will use the Edo template, you see, the sad thing is that there is this quote that giving power, giving unlimited power to limited people is a form of cruelty. I mean, you see, why are developed countries successful? The politicians know they are self-accountable, that they cannot turn with the will of the people. It's not that they can't do certain things. Look at in Singapore. I was reading the other day that, I was watching on CNN, that ministers are well paid. They are paid so much. Yet, there was a minister who was found to be corrupt. And what happened? He was jailed. He was tried and jailed. In China, they wouldn't be so lenient. They executed him.
Yes.
So, because, but that doesn't stop people from still trying to dip their hands in the cookie jar. Yeah. But in Nigeria, where there are no consequences for bad behavior, where there are no consequences for anti-democratic behavior, where a party chairman can come out and say, we will use the DO template in Anambra, that tells you that, people feel they can do anything they like with the system. But let me tell you something. What do they realize is this? No empire lasts forever. One. Two. Everything for every action is an equal and opposite reaction, according to Isaac Newton. So you have to be careful about those things you think you can do anyhow and get away with. Because even within your system, they will get to a point where people will say, no, what is all this? Now we actually have a name. We should be building a legacy. What is all this? We can't be a part of it. Look at what happened with them and Dangote now over the fuel thing. Then when you started hearing about Malta blending plant and all of those things, and then you saw going this way or that way, and that's a member of the of the top echelon of Nigeria, the ruling class, coming out to say no, you cannot do things like this. So they should also realize that time is actually running out on them. You cannot continue to pretend. Younger generations are coming up. So you cannot continue to pretend that you are in charge because the rest of the world is leaving you behind. you know, leaving you behind, and you are just still grappling, borrowing money up and down, you're still grappling with basics. No. And then Nigerians, the citizens, we must actually resist this tribal religious bigotry. We must deal with issues, values. And then you must look at playing in a bigger field. The bigger field is Nigeria, not your ethnic enclave, not your local area. The bigger, we all come from our various ethnic nationalities, but we now form a nation, and that's a bigger space to play than still looking for how you will thrive in smaller spaces. It doesn't work like that. It can't work like that.
All right, so thank you so much, Mr. Madunagu Emeka, who is the editor of Metro Star newspaper. And thank you so much, Mr. Tony Nwaja, editor, Recorder NG. And thank you so much to our viewers as well for being part of the program today. My name is Nedwarangi Mazaka. Do join us at this time next week, Saturday, for more interesting conversations. As for now, goodbye.